Finally, when he rested his forehead against hers, his breath was also ragged and hot. Xiaomin clearly felt the changes in his body. After one night of intimacy, she understood the message men conveyed all too well. Her face flushed and her ears burned instantly. Yu Zhuanzhou's large hand gently kneaded her soft waist, his voice hoarse. "Come to my place." Xiaomin knew she couldn't do this. She couldn't. But her legs were terribly weak, and when Yuanzhou couldn't help but kiss her again, she knew she was slowly falling into an abyss. When Yunyan woke up, she didn't know if Jiang Yinyan had left or not. He had brought her back to his home. After arriving, he helped her wash up, then carried her back to bed. She asked to wear loungewear. Jiang Yinyan smiled and said, "First, the loungewear was dirty, and second, you're in my bed, and no one dares to enter the bedroom, so why bother wearing clothes?" Yunyan was still tired and sleepy at the time, so she didn't argue with him further. She closed her eyes and slept until now. She tried to move her limbs. Her legs still had no strength. Her fingers could move slightly, and even clenching her teeth and trying harder, her arms could only move a tiny bit. Li Bai was truly ruthless. Surely she wouldn't really be unable to move for 3 days, right? Yunyan wanted to cry but couldn't. What would she do if she needed to go to the bathroom? Reflecting on it now, she was truly terrified. If Jiang Yinyan hadn't arrived, or had arrived too late, if she had been taken onto the boat by Brother Kun and left the border, then the next 3 days would have been her darkest hell. Just as she was thinking, the bedroom door opened. Jiang Yinyan truly stayed home today, and, judging by his posture, he had no intention of going out. Yunyan got nervous as soon as she saw him. Seeing this, he sat on the edge of the bed, looking at her with a smile. "Can I really be more frightening than that Brother Kun?" "Depends on what aspect," Yunyan mumbled. They were the only two in the bedroom, so her soft mumble was audible to him. He asked with interest, "What aspect?" Yunyan's face flushed, and she said nothing more. Jiang Yinyan reached out and tilted her face towards him. "Still like to play rough?" "I didn't say that, don't talk nonsense." Yunyan's face grew even redder, stammering slightly in her haste. Jiang Yinyan leaned in, his large hand circling to the back of her head. He gently nipped her lip, a mischievous smile on his face. "You can't even handle it normal. Stop talking." But Jiang Yinyan just wanted to tease her, and more importantly, he had time to tease her today. "Or perhaps we could try?" "No." Yunyan was terribly frightened. Jiang Yinyan couldn't help but smile at the panic in her eyes. His long fingers gently brushed her cheek. "Why so nervous? You're the one talking nonsense. What if I'm serious?" Jiang Yinyan looked at her. Yunyan felt a chill down her spine, but her face grew even redder. "It's just not possible." Jiang Yinyan raised an eyebrow slightly. "You." Yunyan seemed to be showing weakness, lowering her gaze away from his eyes, letting it fall instead on the man's sexy Adam's apple. "You're all ready." "Already what?" The man's breath brushed her cheek, warm with a woody scent, clean and ascetic. Yet, such an ascetic aura on a man like him made him all the more alluring. Yunyan's breathing quickened slightly. "It's big." After saying that, she couldn't bring herself to look at him. A visible blush spread across the woman's face, like crimson sunset hues staining her cheeks, breathtakingly beautiful. Jiang Yinyan looked at her, and at the shy tone of her voice as she spoke, and everything felt like something with legs tirelessly burrowing into his chest. "Vixen." He lowered his face, his voice hoarse. "The more you act like this, the more I want to—" She shuddered. The man's lips lightly brushed her earlobe, nibbling subtly. Then he whispered hoarsely, "Play you to death." Yinyan couldn't avoid him, only protesting verbally. Jiang Yinyan." Jiang Yinyan looked up and laughed aloud. In his eyes, she saw his amusement and deliberate provocation. "Too much." After a long moment, she said, "I remember you have several meetings today. With the group's vice president overseeing things, I can snatch some free time," Jiang Yinyan said, looking at her. He then asked, "Aren't you tired lying like this?" "Tired?" Yinyan felt her back aching from lying down. Jiang Yinyan smiled faintly, his lips pressed together, and found a clean set of loungewear. Yunyan felt a bit embarrassed while he dressed her, but since she couldn't dress herself, she could only endure his unmasked gaze. Of course, during this time, she couldn't help but be teased a few times. He knew her body intimately, and thus could easily stir her desires. Jiang Yinyan chuckled, whispering in her ear, "Your body is more honest than your heart." This made Yunyan utterly mortified. Jiang Yinyan carried her to the living room. The sun was bright today. Sitting on the living room sofa, she could see the lush greenery in the garden. It was supposed to be a bleak season, but the potted plants in the garden were thriving, a riot of vibrant colors, clearly tended by professionals. Yunyan looked at the abundant sunshine, then thought of everything she had experienced last night, sighing deeply that darkness and light were truly only a step apart. Old Liu arrived bathed in sunlight, carrying many clothes. Yun Yin saw that they were all women's clothes. Jiang Yin asked if she liked them. They were all brands Yun Yin liked, one she used to wear often. Jiang Yin had bought clothes for her before, also these same brands. He seemed quite insistent on restoring her former self. Yun Yin said, "I'm not so particular about clothes now. Comfort is fine." Jiang Yin didn't say much more, telling old Lu to put the bags aside. After old Lu put the clothes away, he didn't leave immediately. Just as Jiang Yin was about to get up, he heard Yun Yin ask, "Is it about Li Bai? It's related to me, so don't keep me out of it." Old Lu thought to himself, "Miss Yu is quite something, making demands of young Master Yin." Jiang Yin particularly disliked discussing such matters in front of others, especially anything concerning Lord Bu. But old Lu vaguely felt young Master Yin might compromise. Sure enough, Jiang Yin sat back on the sofa and gestured for old Lu to sit down. "Go on." Old Lu felt so uncomfortable. It wasn't that he was uncomfortable facing Yun Yin, it was the discomfort of not being able to smoke. Sitting down, he reported to Jiang Yin, "Lord Bu's men left before dawn. Li Bai was taken away, put on a boat with them." Jiang Yin grunted in acknowledgement. "Keep an eye on things over there. Inform me immediately of any developments." "Don't worry." Yun Yin pondered, then asked, "In this situation, going with them, Li Bai will wish she were dead, won't she?" "Our people reported that Li Bai tried to escape at the time, but was caught and brought back. It seems she knew what the consequences would be once she got on that boat," old Lu said. When Yun Yin first heard old Lu's words, she felt something was off. Only after mulling it over did she grasp the meaning. He had said, "Our people." She subconsciously glanced at Jiang Yin, but he showed no displeasure or reaction. That hour always made Yun Yin feel, well, a feeling she couldn't quite describe. Yun Yin sighed softly. Brother Kun not only gained no advantage, but also suffered a great loss and humiliation in this matter. He couldn't take out his anger on Jiang Yin, so it was bound to be unleashed on Li Bai. Jiang Yin heard her sigh and turned to look at her. "You haven't gone soft, have you?" "I'm not that much of a bleeding heart," Yun Yin said. "Every pitiable person has something hateful about them. Not to mention I was almost ruined because of her. She just thought human hearts were terrifying. Who would have expected a dinner party to devolve to such a state? If Li Bai hadn't been greedy and hadn't secretly called Manager Wang to the table, none of the subsequent events would have happened. It could have been a happy ending for everyone. It truly was a single thought away from heaven or hell." This was what Yun Yin lamented. Jiang Yin smiled. "All right, good thing you're not a bleeding heart, otherwise I'd have to find a way to help you rescue her." "Ask you to save someone who harmed me?" Yun Yin asked. Her head must have been squashed by the door. Jiang Yin said, "Asking isn't out of the question. If you ask me to save her, I'll go, but the conditions won't be easy." "I don't have that hobby," Yun Yin replied. Jiang Yin smiled faintly, his lips pressed together. Old Lu was truly astonished that she dared to joke with young Master Yin like that. He cleared his throat. "I was just reporting on this matter. I'll be going now." He always felt uncomfortable staying there. Jiang Yin didn't stop him, only instructing him to notify a restaurant to prepare and deliver meals at the appointed time. After old Lu left, Yun Yin asked Jiang Yin, "You're the one who had Manager Wang's finger broken, aren't you?" Jiang Yin took a wet wipe, cleaned his hands, then slowly peeled an apple he took from the fruit bowl. "Manager Wang? I heard he encountered robbers." Yun Yin looked at Jiang Yin. "Nothing to do with you. A man who tried to take advantage of you. Are you questioning me on his behalf?" Jiang Yin wasn't annoyed, glancing at her with a half-smile. Yun Yin said sincerely, "Such people are indeed hateful, and I'm not that magnanimous, but I don't want this matter to be connected to you." "Why?" Yun Yin lowered her eyes. "No particular reason. I just don't want it." He used to be a Yin, a man who faced blood and danger daily. Now he was Jiang Yin, the crown prince of the capital. He should be upper class, aristocratic, abandoning his past identity and the days of licking blood from blade tips. So Yun Yin didn't want him to do these kinds of things, and as for that Lord Bu, if possible, she didn't want Jiang Yin to have any further contact with him either. Seeing that she wouldn't say, Jiang Yin didn't press the question. He said he should be grateful it was only a finger, and the person who actually caused him to lose that finger was Li Bai. He really should be grateful. It was within the country's borders. Otherwise, Manager Wang would have lost more than just a finger. Yun Yin thought for a moment. That's true. This must also be why Li Bai took such a risk. An apple was peeled. Yun Yin thought he was going to eat it, but he unexpectedly cut it into small pieces and placed them on a plate. He took a delicate fruit fork, speared a piece of apple, and held it to her lips. Yun Yin was taken aback. But she ate it anyway. "You're not really going to stay home all day, are you?" "Not just one day," Jiang Yin said mildly. "Only when you can move around again." Yun Yin's scalp prickled. "You can't move now, and you shouldn't be left unattended. Jiang Yinyan explained casually. As for housekeepers, their work isn't always reliable. Yinyan's heart fluttered uneasily. But just the two of us, it'll be boring, won't it? Staring blankly at each other, Jiang Yinyan smiled. Boring? How could it be? He put another piece of apple in her mouth. It's a rare day off, so it's comfortable to just lie around at home. And we can always. Seeing him lean closer, Yinyan was so nervous she couldn't even bite the apple. Jiang Yinyan whispered the full intent into her ear. Fuck you. Yinyan knew he wouldn't say anything decent. But hearing those words, she still felt a flush of heat, pressing her lips together and glaring at him. Jiang Yinyan was amused. He offered her another piece of apple, but she refused to eat it. What's wrong? Eat less, drink less. Why? Jiang Yinyan was puzzled. Yinyan retorted, to reduce the number of times I need to go to the bathroom. I'd be happy to help you. I wouldn't be happy. And so, for the 2 days Yinyan couldn't move, Jiang Yinyan truly stayed home. She was like a fully paralyzed person carried around by him. Sunbathing, eating, reading, of course, Jiang Yinyan read to her. He even, quite boringly, told her the story of Cinderella. Exasperated, Yinyan protested, I'm not a child anymore. Jiang Yinyan had a reason. Didn't you like pumpkin carriages? Yinyan. Naturally, he often teased her. Just as he said, whenever the mood struck him, he would carry her back to bed. Afterwards, he would take advantage of her under the guise of bathing her. And, as he did, he would inevitably be unable to resist further. After their passionate encounter, Jiang Yinyan held her tightly in his arms, his voice hoarse as he said, I truly wish you would always be like this. But Yinyan certainly didn't wish for that, feeling like a mere puppet on strings. This didn't sound like flirting. Yinyan always had the mistaken impression that such things meant nothing to Jiang Yinyan. A chill ran down Yinyan's spine. Perhaps seeing the surprise on her face, Jiang Yinyan suddenly smiled. Just teasing you. Did you really believe it? She did. Yinyan felt that was exactly what he'd been thinking when he said those words. Just like that, the third day arrived. When Yinyan woke up, her chest felt heavy. She tried to turn over, but as soon as she moved, the man's arm re-encircled her, pulling her closer into his embrace. The man's voice was still hazy with sleep. He murmured, Don't go. Sleep a bit longer. Yinyan was almost breathless from his embrace. Her cheek pressed against his chest, and it took her a while to find a comfortable position, nestled in the crook of his neck. But this meant her front was pressed against his chest, making her keenly feel the man's solid muscles and smooth contours. What was worse, he wasn't fully awake, but she could already clearly feel his stirring desire. Her body stiffened, not daring to move, fearing she might accidentally ignite something. Jiang Yinyan showed no signs of waking. Last night, he had a video conference until quite late. She, being clever, went to bed early. She didn't know what time he returned to the bedroom, but when he seemed to want to wake her, she pitifully begged for mercy, thus avoiding a torment. Jiang Yinyan wasn't stupid. He naturally saw her deliberate avoidance and feigned sleep. Before falling asleep, he chuckled softly in her ear. I'll let you off this once. Yinyan hadn't dared to open her eyes or offer any response. Now, Yinyan felt like she was beside an active volcano, capable of waking it with a single careless move and causing a lava eruption. After a long while, she cautiously raised her head slightly. From this angle, she could clearly examine the man's cheeks and facial features. Only at this moment did Yinyan suddenly realize that since reuniting with Jiang Yinyan, she had seemingly never truly looked at him, not even when they were intimate. Most of the time, she kept her eyes closed, afraid to look at him. Jiang Yinyan would cup the back of her head and softly command, Look at me. Don't close your eyes. Most of the time, it was forced confrontation. Actively observing him like this was a first. He was a man with excellent bone structure, a facial characteristic truly blessed by heaven. Men with good bone structure maintain superior looks even in old age. The skin may age, but the underlying bone structure remains. Yinyan remembered the second year he arrived at the Yu family, when he would have been 16. His height shot up, his frame was sleek, and his muscles became very firm. She, then 11, stood beside him like a bean sprout, appearing particularly frail. Back then, she always liked him to carry her. Even when tired from strolling in the garden, she would tell him, Yin, I'm tired. Carry me back to the room. Yin, on his second day at the Yu family, still had a bit of rebelliousness in him. He said, Is Mrs. Feet so weak? You should exercise more. Yin didn't want to exercise. She was lazy in the true sense of the word. So every day, when Yin called her for a morning run, she wouldn't get out of bed. Until one parent-teacher conference, the teacher told Yin, as Yin's older brother, you should usually pay more attention to her physical fitness. She doesn't perform very satisfactorily in many sports. That was quite a tactful way of putting it. Back then, when she was in school, A Yin went with her in the capacity of her older brother. So sometimes, during parent-teacher conferences, Yun Yin would send a Yin. Over time, the whole school knew Yun Yin had a tall, handsome, yet aloof and silent older brother. Quite a few girls liked a Yin. She received love letters almost every day. Love letters for a Yin, entrusted to her to deliver to him. Whenever a Yin got a love letter, he'd toss it without even looking, which made Yun Yin both envious and regretful. It wasn't until Yun Yin grew a little older and received her first love letter that she learned some truths. It wasn't that no one had written her love letters before. They had all been intercepted by a Yin in secret. It was a rarity for her to receive that particular love letter. The boy was quite clever, seizing an opportune moment to slip the letter into Yun Yin's hand. Although Yun Yin didn't like the boy, his persistent spirit genuinely moved her. Of course, the boy's actions were quickly discovered by Yin, and after that, no more love letters ever reached her hands. Yun Yin went to ask a Yin, "Where are my love letters?" "Destroyed." "Why? Those are my love letters." "What do you need love letters for at such a young age? What if you're tricked?" "A Yin, you don't have a right to do that. I need to constantly protect your safety, and that is my right." After that, the boy who gave her the love letter would walk around her when he saw her. Yun Yin couldn't help but wonder why. Finally, one day, she stopped him and asked why he looked so afraid of her. The boy honestly replied, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm afraid of your brother. Your brother beat up a boy who liked you a while ago, and he beat him pretty badly." Yun Yin went to confront a Yin again. A Yin was quite honest and admitted that he had indeed beaten the other person. Yun Yin was surprised. A Yin said, "He harbored evil intentions towards you and wanted to make improper advances. For Mrs. Safety, I had to prevent such a situation from occurring." Yun Yin was thoroughly scared. He was going to make improper advances? She quickly moved closer to a Yin. She was too scared. A Yin knew she had a psychological shadow and comforted her, saying, "Don't be afraid, Mississippi. I'm right here with you." Later, Yun Yin found out the extent of a Yin's beating. The boy's nasal bridge was fractured and his calf bone was broken. Students who could attend that kind of school usually came from well-off families. So the boy's parents approached the Yu family, accusing them of bullying with their power and demanding an explanation. At that time, Yu Wanzhou was away on a business trip, so Song Lan handled the matter. She called both Yun Yin and a Yin out. In front of the students' parents, she didn't mention that a Yin was the Yu family's bodyguard, but calmly asked a Yin why he hit the boy. A Yin said, "Not only did I hit him, but I also hit a few of his friends." Hearing this, Song Lan asked what had happened. A Yin said, "He gathered a few students from other schools to pretend to be kidnappers. Then he would take the opportunity to play the hero and rescue you, thus winning your affection." Song Lan looked calmly at the other parents, her emotions like still water, but her tone was no longer polite. "Your young master has quite a few tricks up his sleeve at such a young age." The other parents naturally refused to admit it, insisting that a Yin was falsely accusing their son. A Yin said, "If you don't believe it, we can confront him directly." The other parents were relentless, claiming their son was frightened, so naturally, the Yu family could say whatever they wanted. Song Lan, unhurried, suggested, "Let's just call the police then. It's best to let the police investigate such matters. Let the police decide who is right and wrong. If the Yu family has wronged your son, we will naturally visit to apologize. But if your son was in the wrong first, then the Yu family will certainly not let the matter rest." Hearing this, the other parents lost their confidence. Naturally, the matter eventually died down without further action. From that day on, no boy in school dared to make a move on Yun Yin. Returning to the topic of physical fitness improvement. Ever since a Yin learned Yun Yin needed to strengthen her physical training, he tried every possible way to devise numerous exercise programs for her. Each workout was hellish for Yun Yin, and she simply couldn't stick with it. In the end, a Yin didn't want to make things difficult for her anymore and gave up. Yun Yin was quite depressed about it. A Yin said, "It's all right. At worst, I'll protect Miss for a lifetime." A lifetime. Yun Yin was abruptly pulled out of her memories and was startled to find her fingers resting on Jiang Yinyan's prominent brow bone, unknowingly tracing his features. She was secretly alarmed and pulled her hand back. Then she realized something. She could move. Yun Yin tried wiggling her fingers again, and indeed, she could move them. She moved her body, moved her limbs, and finally, she could move. Yun Yin was almost ecstatic. Finally, she could move. What she wanted most now was to stretch luxuriously. So, she looked up at Jiang Yinyan. He didn't seem to be waking up. Yun Yin softened her movements, slowly prying Jiang Yinyan's arm that was holding her. As his arm moved away, Yun Yin finally let out a long sigh of relief. Just as she was about to get up, the man's arm pressed back. This time his body followed suit, pressing down on her. You've been watching me for ages. I thought I might get some benefit, but I'm sorely disappointed." Jiang Yinyan's alertness, honed since childhood, meant he could wake up from the slightest disturbance. even in deep sleep. From childhood to adulthood, no one had ever slept beside him. Not even his best friends had slept so close. After reuniting with Yunyin, he didn't know why, but after the night he had her, he naturally slept beside her. Watching her curled up in a ball in his embrace, his heart felt surprisingly full, as if a long empty space had finally been filled. To this day, Jiang Yinyin couldn't articulate this feeling. All he knew was that he wanted to keep her by his side. So when Yunyin woke up, Jiang Yinyin was already awake, just too lazy to open his eyes. No matter how much Jiang Yinyin hated Yue Yuan, or how unwilling he was to recall anything from the Yu family, he had to admit that holding her while he slept felt good. Initially, Jiang Yinyin regarded this feeling as revenge. Yunyin was Yue Yuan's cherished treasure, so he would fiercely trample on what Yue Yuan held most precious, just as Yue Yuan had ruthlessly extinguished the soul light in his heart, his most precious friendship back then. Now, Jiang Yinyin couldn't be certain if it was still about revenge. He just wanted to possess her, wildly and intensely. Yunyin was pinned beneath him, and in this position, she felt his awakening even more intensely. Completely, utterly awake. She didn't dare to move, but she still said to Jiang Yinyin, "I can move now." And then, Jiang Yinyin slightly raised an eyebrow. What's so surprising about being able to move? It's not like she was truly paralyzed before. Yinyin said, "I haven't moved in ages, so I want to get up and stretch properly." Jiang Yinyin looked as if he'd heard a joke, his eyes full of interest. "Haven't moved in ages? Aside from last night, you've been quite active these past 2 days, haven't you?" After 4 days of rest at home, or more accurately, 4 days spent at Jiang Yinyin's house, when Yunyin returned to Zhongshu, it felt like ages had passed. It wasn't surprising that she felt this way. As she stood in Zhongshu, beneath her feet was the bustling prosperity of the city, around her were the busy figures of her colleagues, and the civilization and fast pace of urban life came rushing in. She had encountered the dark side of human nature more than once or twice, but the Kuanji incident from a couple of days ago still left her unsettled. So, whenever she was in civilized society, she would often feel disoriented, as if at any moment she could be dragged back into an endless abyss. When Yunyin rejoined the major project team, Bai Li's attitude towards her had completely changed. While she wasn't openly given the green light, she was given access to core documents, which led to Yang Li calling Bai Li into his office. What exactly was discussed was unclear, as the office blinds were drawn. Bai Li's subordinates were quite worried, fearing that Bai Li would once again be reprimanded by Yang Li. Later, in the restroom, Yunyin made sure no one else was around. As she washed her hands at the sink, she asked Bai Li, "You've been vomiting a lot today." Bai Li didn't hide it, nodding with a listless expression. She washed her hands, then rinsed her mouth with the rose mouthwash she carried, before quietly saying, "But that drink you gave me last time is quite good. Whenever my stomach feels like it's churning, a few sips always do the trick." I finished checking all the proposals you needed reviewed before closing time. There are 2 annotations for you to look at, but everything else is pretty much fine, Yunyin said, squeezing out hand cream and rubbing it into her hands. She had come straight to the major project team today, truly providing timely help for Bai Li. Bai Li sighed softly. "Thank goodness you helped me today." Yang Li still hasn't decided? Yunyin glanced at Bai Li's stomach. How could they have only discussed work after spending so long in the office? Bai Li smiled. "I never counted on him for anything. Besides, I told him very clearly that I won't voluntarily resign because of this. For this child, I need this job even more." Yunyin was momentarily speechless. Among some of the socialite women she had encountered before, there were indeed many who chose to keep their children but separate from the fathers, but at least they had been married. Yang Li's attitude remained elusive. Emotionally, Yunyin didn't think he would be an irresponsible person, but rationally, she worried that Yang Li might sacrifice Bai Li for his career. Bai Li then mentioned General Manager Wang. There's absolutely no hope for her finger, but what's strange is that Li Bai disappeared without a trace after she was dismissed. At the mention of Li Bai, Yunyin's heart skipped a beat. She lowered her gaze, thought for a moment, and said, "She was dismissed and still didn't leave? Was she waiting for GM Wang's retaliation?" "That's the problem. Our team has dealt with GM Wang for years and knows him well. He's extremely petty. After something like this happened, would he really let Li Bai off?" Bai Li sighed lightly. Li Bai might have already suffered retaliation. Yunyin also sighed inwardly, thinking that Li Bai had spun her own cocoon. Perhaps her current predicament was even worse than if she had stayed with GM Wang. She dared not imagine what Li Bai might be going through. That Kuan-ji was a fierce-looking brute. On her way out of the country, Li Bai would undoubtedly have become a punching bag. "You've been on a business trip with CEO Jiang these past few days, and there's one thing I'm particularly curious about," Bai Li said softly, touching up her makeup. During Yunyin's days off, Jiang Yinyin had claimed to be on a business trip, so he hadn't come to the company for a few days, and her colleagues hadn't suspected anything. Yunyin looked at Bai Li in the mirror. Curious about what? Curious about what you call CEO Jiang when you're alone with him. Bali smiled faintly, meeting her gaze. Do you call him uncle, or something else? Yunyan felt flustered by her question. She put her lipstick back into her small bag. What's something else? I don't know what you're talking about. Back to work. It was Friday again when she sat down to eat with Xiao Min. Xiao Min could relax a little in the afternoon, so she specifically invited Yunyan to lunch. It was clear Xiao Min was in a good mood. The lunch spread was as elaborate as a dinner. All that was missing was a bottle of fine wine. Don't you think it's strange for us to eat such a fancy meal together? We might as well go for Mala Tang, Yunyan said truthfully. For Yunyan, she had long since tired of such restaurants and had no particular attachment to them. For Xiao Min, these were places she frequented and had also grown tired of. Two good friends would naturally prefer something more down-to-earth and comfortable. It's a newly opened restaurant. I came to try their caviar first, then I'm coming here for dinner with your brother tonight, Xiao Min said with a smile. Yunyan almost choked on her water. She had only stayed at Jiang Yunyan's house for a few days. Why did it feel like the outside world had changed so much? That sentence of yours carries a lot of information. What's going on? You're having lunch? Just a taste test for dinner? Or is it for Yuanzhou? Xiao Min hummed in response, her cheeks flushing slightly. Yunyan saw this and understood. Something was definitely going on. She pressed Xiao Min. Spill it. Xiao Min cleared her throat. What's the rush? My main purpose in asking you out was to talk about this. After all, he's your brother, and I should let you know, right? Stop with the pleasantries. Get to the point. The point is, Yuanzhou and I have been together these past few days, Xiao Min said, smiling sweetly. Yunyan's eyes widened. After a long moment, she asked, together meaning? Don't misunderstand. It means exactly what it sounds like, together. Xiao Min cupped her chin in her hand, holding a glass of water. It was clearly lemonade, but she made it seem like she was drinking fine wine. The day before yesterday, I slept at his place. Last night, he was at mine. So, we've been together every day these past 2 days. Yunyan waited for a while. And then... What and then? Xiao Min asked, puzzled. Yunyan also looked bewildered. No continuation? You went from a moment of passion to nights of revelry, and there are no further plans? Xiao Min lowered her gaze and smiled. No continuation, this is fine. Huh? Yunyan exclaimed, genuinely confused. She put her water glass down on the table. Min, tell me honestly, does Yuanzhou not want to take responsibility? I'll call and scold him right now. No, Xiao Min sighed, pulling her back. I'm telling you this because of your relationship with Yuanzhou, but I wasn't planning on you intervening. But you two can't just be... Yunyan realized her voice was a little loud and quickly lowered it to a near whisper. You can't just be eat, drink, and be merry types. Xiao Min said, it's not that simple for two people to be together, Yunyan. I understand what you mean, but right now, neither Yuanzhou nor I are confident we can be the ideal person for each other. It's better this way. No commitments needed, just be happy together one day at a time. If one day we get tired or bored, then we'll let go gracefully. Yunyan was momentarily speechless. To be honest, Xiao Min thinking this way somewhat surprised her. After a long pause, Xiao Min sighed and said, just because that kind of thing happens between a man and a woman doesn't mean they have to define the relationship. Yunyan felt a prick in her heart at these words. Wasn't it the same for her, and Jiang Yunyan? Or was she to Jiang Yunyan now? Seeing her crestfallen look, Xiao Min reached out and squeezed her hand. Don't misunderstand, I wasn't talking about you. Your situation is special. Yunyan, of course, knew she meant no harm. She was just worried about Xiao Min's relationship with Yuanzhou. But you like Yuanzhou, I know that, Yunyan said softly. Neither of you is married. You're well-matched, whether in age or life experience. You should be together. Xiao Min chuckled softly. Matters of the heart should take things as they come. They cannot be forced. Then what about that lawyer Qiao? Of course, I rejected him. After all, I'm with Yuanzhou now, Xiao Min said without even thinking. Yunyan raised an eyebrow. Isn't that the conscientiousness of a girlfriend? If it's just eat, drink, and be merry types, why bother with such things? My dear, whether or not the relationship is defined, respecting others is a basic moral quality, Xiao Min explained. Yunyan smiled. All right, it was certainly something you don't see every day. Can Yuanzhou also abide by this? Yunyan asked again. Xiao Min hesitated. That, I'm not sure. But as of now, there doesn't seem to be any woman he's close to. Yunyan looked at her, sighing deeply. What's wrong? Xiao Min asked. Yunyan shook her head, looking at her, and tissed twice. I have to say, you're really open-minded. Isn't this the current state of relationships between men and women? Everyone is lonely, so they get together without commitments, without putting pressure on each other, Xiao Min said. Yunyan thought for a moment and asked her, what if Yuanzhou marries another woman someday? Xiao Min lowered her gaze, silent for a long time, then looked up and chuckled softly. Then I'll wish him well. Yun scoffed. I hope you can be that carefree. Otherwise, a hint of loneliness colored Xiao Min's eyes. Should I go crash the wedding and steal the groom? Saying that, she laughed again. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the one to get married first. Yun thought, asterisk nonsense. You clearly rejected lawyer Qiao for Yuan Zhou, and you're saying you'll get married first? Who would you marry? Asterisk. Just as she was thinking, Xiao Min's phone rang. When Xiao Min answered, her eyes softened, radiating an obvious sense of happiness. Yun knew immediately it must be Yuan Zhou. She heard Xiao Min say, I'm having lunch with Yun. Do you want to talk to her? Soon, the phone was handed to Yun. What Yun most wanted to ask was what Yuan Zhou was thinking, but she couldn't very well say anything in front of Xiao Min. Yuan Zhou took the phone and immediately asked her, Nothing bad happened to you, did it? Yun's heart skipped a beat. Her first thought was that he knew what had happened earlier, but on second thought, that wasn't right. If he really knew, he wouldn't ask that way. So she said, What could happen? Are you hoping something bad happens to me? Yuan Zhou sighed. How could I hope something bad happens to you? It's good that you're fine. It's just that I felt uneasy these past couple of days. Yun almost blurted out. So that's why you went and got involved with Xiao Min? She swallowed it back, said nothing else, and handed the phone back to Xiao Min. When Xiao Min chatted with Yuan Zhou, her tone was very gentle and loving. It didn't sound like they were talking about anything serious. They looked every bit like a couple in love, having a long, sweet phone call. Xiao Min invited Yun out, but it was mostly to talk about her and Yuan Zhou. Yun had been her friend for many years and naturally understood her thoughts. As Xiao Min considered Yuan Zhou her younger brother, even if they were together without any formal status, they were still together, and she felt she had to inform Yun. When they parted, Yun said to Xiao Min, It's true that I'm his older sister, but he's an adult, and I can't interfere in any of his affairs. However, as your best friend, there's something I must tell you. Fang Yuan won't be in Beishur for too long. Yuan Zhou will eventually return to Jiangnan. Have you thought about your future? Xiao Min lowered her gaze. Or have neither of you brought this up? Is it truly a matter of taking things one step at a time? Yun asked. Xiao Min sighed softly, then said, We haven't even defined our relationship. He certainly wouldn't discuss this with me. Let's take it one step at a time. Then what if? Yun thought for a moment, a bold idea forming. He wants you to go with him? Xiao Min pondered briefly. I don't know. Yun. I've never considered that question, and, honestly, I can't bring myself to give up my current job. Yun nodded. She understood. Xiao Min had worked her way up in the fashion industry step by step, relying on her abilities. Her confidence, her pride, and everything she possessed were bestowed by her kingdom. Once she lost these, she would become a fallen angel, stripped of her halo. Back in the office area, before work hours even began, Yun received a call from Yuan Zhou. Knowing him, she knew this call was inevitable. Yuan Zhou sounded a little awkward on the phone. Yun, you want to talk about Xiao Min? Yun was more direct than he was. Yuan Zhou was silent for a moment on the other end, then said, Xiao Min told you everything, right? Yes. Yun asked softly. So what's the purpose of your call? Yuan Zhou seemed to want to say something, but perhaps he hadn't even thought it through himself. Finally, he said, I thought you'd call to scold me, so I figured I'd call you first and just get it over with. Why would I scold you? Yuan Zhou was silent for a bit. After all, I haven't given Xiao Min any promises and our current relationship. Then what are your thoughts? I don't know, Yuan Zhou admitted honestly. I'm not sure if I can give her a future, so I don't dare to make that promise lightly. But you still want to be with her, right? Yes. This time, Yuan Zhou was quite certain. At least for now, I want to be with her. Yun hummed an acknowledgement, then thought for a moment and asked the same question she had earlier. What about when you return to Jiangnan? There was a long silence on the other end. Zhou, it's your freedom who you're with and how you're with them. I have no right to interfere. But I have one request, Yun said softly. Under no circumstances are you to hurt Xiao Min. That's the bottom line. Of course I won't hurt her, Yuan Zhou said. Yun hummed. That's good then. During the call, Jiang Yun arrived at the office, followed by the marketing director and sales manager, chatting as they walked. Jiang Yun had long legs and took big strides, so the director and manager behind him had to almost jog to keep up, all while saving time to report on work. Yun watched, feeling it was very draining. While Yuan Zhou was still talking on his end, Jiang Yun had already reached Yun's side. Yun quickly interrupted Yuan Zhou and abruptly ended the call. Before her phone screen went black, Jiang Yun seemed to casually glance at it, then ordered faintly, come to the office. Yun responded, grabbed her notebook, and quickly followed. After entering the office, Yun glanced at the time. It wasn't even time for the afternoon shift yet. It was too intense. Evidently, to save time, Jiang Yun had moved the small meeting for the two departments to the CEO's office. Once Yun understood this, she tried to call for a secretary, but Jiang Yun stopped her. casually instructing Yunyan, "You can follow the entire meeting." This meant she also had to do the work of the secretarial office. Yunyan had no objections. As an assistant, he could assign her any task he wished. The people from the marketing and sales departments, however, looked at her strangely. After a quick glance, they said nothing. Yunyan was there to work, not to care about anyone's opinions, so she felt no ripples internally. Others could think whatever they wanted. Though there were only 2 departments and only 2 heads present, there was a mountain of tasks. With one project pressing down, 2 departments needed to collaborate, which inevitably led to friction between them, especially concerning deadlines. The 2 department heads even got red-faced and agitated as they spoke. If this had happened when Yunyan first joined the group, she would have tried to mediate, but now she was used to it. Moreover, this situation was nothing. General meetings were much more interesting, with departments engaging in verbal sparring so intense that an outsider might think a brawl was about to break out. Yet, many good ideas also emerged from their intense exchanges. Yunyan quite admired Jiang Nianyan for this. Whether in large or small meetings, as long as his subordinates argued, he would let them argue, enjoying the show at his leisure. Once they finished, relevant solutions would appear, and he would simply summarize and conclude. Being able to do this was also his skill. Just like now, Jiang Nianyan sat in the CEO's chair, propping his chin with one hand, listening to the marketing director and sales manager debate back and forth, not at all worried that they might actually come to blows if they got too angry. As for Yunyan, she had also learned Jiang Nianyan's calm, standing motionlessly and watching the 2 people argue in front of her. Jiang Nianyan motioned for her to sit. "Sit and watch the show?" "All right." This went on for over 2 hours. After the marketing director and sales manager left, Yunyan felt a throbbing pain in her temples, her head buzzing. Looking at Jiang Nianyan again, he was completely calm and composed. She truly admired him. "I'll synchronize the key points of this meeting with the secretarial office, and I'll compile the information on the distributors and relevant clients mentioned during this period and present it to you," Yunyan said, her work approach very clear. Jiang Nianyan hummed in acknowledgement. Yunyan glanced at him, finding his expression indifferent, and wondered what was wrong. "If there's nothing else, I'll go out now." "What did Wanzhou want you for?" Jiang Nianyan asked casually. Yunyan was startled, only then realizing he had seen it earlier at noon. She wanted to retort, "He's my brother. It's normal for him to call me even for small talk." But looking at Jiang Nianyan's unpredictable face, she swallowed the words. She cleared her throat and stood still before him. "Aizhou and Xiao Min are together. He called to tell me about it." Jiang Nianyan looked at her upon hearing this, a clear astonishment in his eyes. She didn't know if it was because he hadn't expected her to tell him honestly, or if he was surprised by the event itself. In any case, Yunyan could clearly see it. She leaned forward and waved her hand at Jiang Nianyan. "Hello?" Only then did Jiang Nianyan react, his eyebrow raising slightly. "Yuanzhou and Xiaomin are together?" "Yes," Yunyan nodded. "Is there a problem?" "No problem at all." "What problem could there be?" Jiang Nianyan suddenly smiled. Yunyan eyed him. "Do you think they're a good match?" "Perfectly suitable." Jiang Nianyan stood up and walked over to her. Feigning a stretch, his arm brushed her back as it came down. Yunyan instinctively glanced out the window. Thankfully, no one was passing by. "Can you be serious for a moment?" Jiang Nianyan chuckled. "Am I not serious? If I really weren't serious, I would have dragged you into the lounge in front of my subordinates just now." "You pervert. What should I do?" Jiang Nianyan leaned slightly closer to her, lowered his face, and said. Yunyan didn't understand what he meant. Jiang Nianyan stared at her face, a half-smile in his eyes, but his words were extremely suggestive. "What if I can never get enough of you?" Yunyan's face flushed. "I'm going to work." Her wrist was seized by the man, who then pulled her back. "Are you crazy? Let go." Yunyan was terribly frightened. The blinds weren't even down. If anyone passing the CEO's office saw them, she feared Jiang Nianyan's madness the most. Like now, it felt as if she was standing on the edge of a cliff. Jiang Nianyan took in her panicked expression, but instead of letting go, he pulled her into his embrace. "Afraid of being seen? So what if they know you're mine?" Jiang Nianyan brazenly held her right in front of the desk, constantly risking being discovered. Yunyan's legs immediately went weak. She struggled. "What's wrong with you? Let go." Jiang Nianyan's arms were strong and firm, showing no intention of hiding or moving. But this danger became a thrill. The man buried his handsome face in her neck, nibbling gently, his voice muffled and husky. "Do you know what I was thinking during the meeting? My mind was filled with images of you begging and moaning beneath me. When those 2 looked at you, I wished I could gouge out their eyeballs." His lips pressed hard, leaving a mark on her neck, and he whispered, "Right now, I desperately want to pin you against this desk. Let everyone see, let everyone know. Yunyan, you are mine for this lifetime. If anyone dares to even glance at you, dares to touch you, I won't let them get away with it. Yun Yin's heart was trembling with unease. Especially his words, you are mine for this lifetime. Someone's coming, quick, let go. Yun Yin was terribly anxious. But the more anxious she became, the crazier Jiang Yun Yin grew. He held the back of her head, forcibly made her lift her face to look at him, and commanded, say you're mine. Then he couldn't resist, lowering his head and nibbling her red lips. Yun Yin protested with a muffled sound. Say it. His face was almost touching hers, his command turning into a coaxing whisper. If she didn't say it, there was no sign of him letting go. If they were caught, she would be the one to suffer. I'm yours, Yun Yin murmured softly. Her voice was soft and helpless, like silk drilling into his heart. The light in his eyes gradually deepened. Say it again. Whose are you? I'm yours, young Master Yin, yours. Her eyes glistened. Jiang Yin Yin was a lunatic, outwardly reserved and steady. Yet the madness hidden in his bones was enough to destroy a person. Yun Yin felt that the madness flowing in his blood had never disappeared. From when he was still a yin, from when he single-handedly stormed a bandit's den, from when he took a knife wound and still carried her all the way forward. Even now that he was the capital's princeling, even now that he was draped in luxury, an expensive, bespoke suit couldn't hide his ambition and the ruthlessness in his bones. Most of the time, the lounge had become Jiang Yin Yin's place of indulgence, and Yun Yin's belongings were accumulating there. Jiang Yin Yin hired a professional agency, specifically assigning people to handle the cleaning of the CEO's office and the lounge. Firstly, the goings-on in the lounge wouldn't leak out, and secondly, Jiang Yin Yin played quite wildly. Perhaps the forbidden thrill had proven sweet, for whenever they stayed overnight in the lounge, the office inevitably became Jiang Yin Yin's place for seeking excitement. Though things would be tidied afterwards, it was hard to guarantee no traces would be left behind. Professionals from a specialized agency were the most reliable. They were discreet and had no ties to anyone else in the company. Of course, there was also Jiang Yin Yin's home, another important location besides the lounge. Sometimes Yun Yin would accompany Jiang Yin Yin to late meetings, and he would simply take her straight home with him. Meanwhile, her own home was like a vacation spot. She couldn't return even once in 10 days to half a month. Naturally, there was no shortage of gossip. Yun Yin even heard colleagues discussing it privately. Where Mr. Jiang is, Assistant Yu is sure to be. It seems Mr. Jiang keeps Assistant Yu by his side, no matter what he's doing. She's his special assistant. What's strange about her being by his side? It's different. Some tasks a secretary could do, but Mr. Jiang only seems to trust Assistant Yu. That woman has a lot of power. Now the entire large project team is practically hers. Isn't that just Mr. Jiang's unspoken approval? Calling him uncle is different, isn't it? Yang Li must be furious. Is he really her uncle? I always feel their relationship isn't that simple. Over time, all sorts of rumors began to circulate. Some even proactively sought her out to verify things. Of course, she wasn't the subject of the rumors. A colleague came over and whispered to Yun Yin. Someone said they heard a woman's voice coming from Mr. Jiang's office. Do you know about this? At that moment, Yun Yin's scalp nearly exploded. Her first reaction was that she had been discovered. But seeing her colleague's eyes, it didn't seem like they were trying to trick her, so she was able to relax a little. It's perfectly normal to hear a woman's voice in Mr. Jiang's office. So many people report to him every day. That's not what I mean. You're an adult. Don't you understand what I'm asking? Yun Yin held her breath. Then didn't the colleague who heard the woman's voice go investigate? Who would dare investigate Mr. Jiang's affairs? But it's quite incredible for something like this to happen with Mr. Jiang. He's always been aloof from women. If he really did secretly bring someone into the office, that would be quite wild. Yun Yin thought to herself, aloof from women? Ha! Every night he practically wished he could torture someone to death. The person then asked Yun Yin again, you really don't know about this? Why should I know? You're the CEO's assistant. How could you not know about Mr. Jiang's affairs? I'm not privy to his private life. Somehow, these words reached Jiang Yin Yin's ears. It was also that day, near closing time, that Yun Yin received a call from the CEO's office. Jiang Yin Yin's voice was low and deep. Come in. Now, whenever Yun Yin heard him say those words, her heart trembled. In that tremble, there was worry because she feared Jiang Yin Yin would disregard everything when he got carried away. But there was also an indescribable flutter, as if she, too, had been infected by his madness. That's why Jiang Yin Yin would chuckle softly and tell her, admit it, you like this very much. As she entered the CEO's office, the moment she saw Jiang Yin Yin, she did react. It was the purest physiological response, but she told herself it was normal because he was her first man. Jiang Yin Yin handed her the signed documents. She reached out to take them, but the man showed no sign of letting go. Yun Yin looked up. Mr. Jiang. Jiang Yin Yin looked at her with a half smile and asked, I hear you're not privy to my private life? Yun Yin let go. her hands resting on the edge of the desk, lightly gripping it. So how am I supposed to tell people outside? Should I say I know? Not only am I privy to your private life, but I also know what you're like in bed. Jiang Yinyan didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled. If you dare to say it, I dare to acknowledge it. You, madman. Her face was slightly flushed. Jiang Yinyan loved to see her like this, wanting to be angry but having nowhere to vent, which always gave him the urge to thoroughly ravage her. He handed her the documents, saying half jokingly, half seriously, "It seems next time, you'll have to restrain yourself when you scream." Yunyan's ears burned, and her heart nearly leaped out her chest. "But I still like to hear you scream," Jiang Yinyan said, looking at her, his eyes holding both a smile and a dark glint, deliberately teasing her while subtly hinting at lust, slowly adding, "The louder, the better." He sat there, his shirt and suit trousers impeccably neat, radiating an air of ascetic detachment, yet the look in his eyes seeped with a soul-stirring seduction. Yunyan decided to pretend to be deaf, because if she kept listening to him, she, too, would be led to let her imagination run wild, especially concerning the desk in front of them. She instinctively glanced at it. Jiang Yinyan, as if seeing through her thoughts, said meaningfully, "This desk smells very good." Yunyan turned and left immediately. "Come back to my place tonight," Jiang Yinyan slowly added. Yunyan's legs went soft, and she stumbled. Through the window, she saw Ji Jia, the CEO's secretary, first with a puzzled expression that then turned to disdain. She must have thought Yunyan was feigning weakness in front of Jiang Yinyan again. Bai Li's belly was becoming more noticeable day by day. That day, Yunyan had lunch with Bai Li. Zhongshu had its own staff cafeteria, and the food was good. Because there were so many employees, the cafeteria was quite large, with 2 floors, where one could find almost all kinds of food from different regions. Bai Li ate lightly. She didn't have much of an appetite. When Yunyan got her food, she ordered a small portion of hawthorn snowballs for Bai Li, which Bai Li found quite appetizing. Bai Li was wearing loose clothing today. She had changed her style of dress ever since her pregnancy started to show. Just before coming to the restaurant, one of her subordinates had even said to her, "Sister Bai, I feel like you've gained weight recently." The big project team's social engagements continued, but whenever it concerned Project Department 1, Yang Li would attend in person. After a few instances, Yunyan began to see what was going on. So after getting their food, Yunyan said to Bai Li, "I don't think Yang Li looks like he doesn't want to take responsibility. Look, he doesn't let you go to any of the engagements anymore. He's the deputy general manager of the big project department. He's not just in charge of your project team 1. Do you think the other 2 teams wouldn't have an opinion?" Bai Li chuckled. "In my current state, even if I went to an engagement, it wouldn't work. Yang Li isn't a fool. Would he dig his own grave?" Yunyan glanced at her belly. "In another month or 2, you won't be able to hide it. The first phase of the project is almost ready for launch. It's thanks to your help that the efficiency has been so high. Then I'll take a long leave," Bai Li said. "I haven't had a proper vacation since I came to Zhongshu. Trading my years of hard work for a peaceful life for the child in my belly is worth it." Because of Bai Li, Yunyan's work in the project team had also been going smoother recently. Even people from the big project team joked, "Assistant Yu, why don't you just transfer to our project team? Your current understanding of the project is more than enough." So Yunyan felt quite sorry for Bai Li seeing her like this. Seeing her expression, Bai Li smiled. "What kind of look is that? You're making it seem like you pity me." "I'm feeling sorry for you," Yunyan said honestly. A girl who used to live so freely and carelessly. Now, she was so cautious. "Am I not carefree now?" "Carefree," Yunyan sighed. "To an extreme." Bai Li laughed. She had become more fond of smiling than before. Yunyan also marveled at her transformation. Bai Li said, "Yunyan, let me tell you, no one can change you but yourself. When you open your mind to everything, you'll naturally change. The feeling of letting go and decluttering isn't necessarily a bad thing. You've certainly figured things out, but what about the child?" Yunyan lowered her voice. "Raising a child isn't like raising a pet. Do you really think it's that easy? Children grow up, they become sensible, they ask questions. If one day your child asks about their father, how will you answer?" Bai Li thought for a moment. "If Yang Li isn't married by then, I'll tell the child he's their father. If Yang Li is married, I'll tell the child their father is dead." "Yunyan, that's it?" Bai Li chuckled softly. "I don't want to think too much right now. If I just dwell on this, it'll be an endless emotional drain. What's the point? Older generations always say a child needs a complete family. But what if there simply isn't one? You have to face reality, right? Or what if there is a complete family, but it's an unhappy one, a daily environment of arguments? I think that would be even more irresponsible to the child." Yunyan nodded. "That's true." Bai Li popped a snowball into her mouth. "These past few years, although I can't compare to those from wealthy and influential families, I have enough savings in my account. Living happily with my child won't be a burden. At the very least, I won't have to rush around for a living and make the child suffer for birth. This is the biggest advantage I can create for my child. Yunyin sighed. That's good enough. Bai Li could be so clear-headed about this matter, and Yunyin could sense that she was serious, not just putting on a brave face. But Yunyin didn't believe Yang Li could act as if nothing had happened. So that afternoon, Yang Li blocked her path and pulled her directly into the stairwell. This scene was witnessed by other colleagues. Right as Yang Li was speaking with Yunyin, some juicy rumors started to spread. See that? Even a meticulous and proper man like Yang Li has been conquered. They're still at work, so eager to rush into the stairwell. Her figure is so good, no man could resist, right? It first spread from the administrative department, originating from a sharp-eyed receptionist who saw Yang Li pulling Yunyin into the stairwell. So by the time these remarks reached the CEO's floor, they had become. Gossip was rampant, but Yang Li and Yunyin were completely unaware. Yang Li cornered Yunyin, his objective being Bai Li. So, after pulling Yunyin into the stairwell, Yang Li first made sure no one was upstairs or downstairs, then asked her directly, "You know about Bai Li's situation?" Yunyin wasn't very pleased with Yang Li at the moment, of course. This was regarding his handling of emotional matters. Professionally, she still greatly admired him. She deliberately retorted, "What about Bai Li?" Yang Li was quite flustered by this retort, his gaze even a little awkward. Seeing Yunyin staring at him, he frowned, displaying a hint of anger born of embarrassment. "Don't play dumb. Deputy Manager Yang, aren't you the one playing dumb?" Yunyin's voice was low, but her tone was firm, her assertiveness ample. "Since you've come to me today, there's no need for us to beat around the bush. Yes, I'm aware of Director Bai's situation, but who caused it? And can't you see what state she's in right now? Why are you still pretending not to know when you clearly do?" Yang Li narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at her. "So, you're using the situation to get close to her with a purpose, to allow yourself to integrate into the project faster, isn't that right?" "Yes." Yunyin didn't shy away. "That is indeed my goal. But is there anything wrong with having such an idea? I haven't stolen any trade secrets, nor have I caused any malicious competition. I simply want to get involved in the project. Furthermore, Bai Li knew about my intentions long ago. Deputy Manager Yang, you're a bit slow on the uptake." Yang Li appeared agitated. He pulled a cigarette pack from his pocket, put a cigarette in his mouth, and lit it. Yunyin frowned, moving a little further away from him, barely resisting the urge to turn and leave. Leaning back against the stairwell railing, she finally said after a long while, "Deputy Manager Yang, what's your purpose in seeking me out? Or do you think I have the ability to persuade Director Bai to handle what you consider a trouble?" Yunyin was a very intelligent person. Although talking in the stairwell was relatively safe, and their conversation was quiet, it would be troublesome if someone overheard and twisted their words. Therefore, throughout the entire conversation, Yunyin avoided mentioning unwed pregnancy, or the words pregnant, or child. Yang Li also realized this. He glanced at her, exhaled smoke a moment later, and lowered his voice, saying, "I never considered that a trouble." Yunyin looked at him. Yang Li was silent for a moment before speaking again. "I came to you to warn you not to take advantage of Bai Li. She has a cold exterior but a warm heart. On the surface, she appears formidable, but she's actually quite vulnerable inside." He paused, then continued. "She's worked hard for so many years to get where she is now, and she actually doesn't have many friends. Outsiders all think she's too sharp, with a personality like a knife, making her difficult to get along with. But this is related to her childhood experiences. She never received much care growing up and had to rely on herself for everything. Yet, who doesn't want to be cared for? The colder and harder someone appears, the more they will cherish even the slightest bit of concern." At this point, he looked at Yunyin. "This is what I'm worried about. You're the Yu family's young miss, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You haven't experienced her hardships, so naturally, you can't empathize. But she's different. If you're good to her by one measure, she'll repay you tenfold." Yunyin lowered her gaze and, after a long moment, said, "I didn't grow up in such a family, and I don't know what she suffered in her childhood. But the most valuable aspects of human interaction are understanding and respect. I understand her and respect her, which is also why she's willing to let me integrate into the project." She looked up at him. "But you, Deputy Manager Yang, since you understand her so well, why haven't you taken the next step?" Yang Li froze at her words. "What next step?" His question stumped Yunyin. She looked at him for a long moment, then said, "What do you mean? Bai Li is already in this state. Don't you have any plans for the future? Are you just going to let things continue as they are?" Yang Li was even more bewildered. What else can be done if not to let things continue? Yunyin forcefully suppressed her emotions to keep from swearing. She gestured towards her stomach. "She's already like this." Then she gestured outwards in a circle. "Soon she'll be like this. Do you still want to let things continue? How will colleagues view her? Are you trying to force her to resign, or are you just going to pretend nothing happened, stepping on her achievements to continue your path to promotion. I never thought that. Yang Li frowned. How could I possibly climb the ladder by stepping on her accomplishments? I'm aware of her current situation, so I've been trying to reduce her workload. I've also told her before that if she feels unwell, she can take leave anytime, even if she doesn't want to work anymore. But Bai Li is too strong-willed. She still wants to work, so I can only follow her wishes. Wait a minute. The more Yun Yan listened, the more something felt off, so she asked him directly, "Do you have any intention of marrying her?" Yang Li looked at her, his expression quite strange, as if she had asked a very ridiculous question. "Of course I'm going to marry her." Yun Yan felt utterly bewildered. How was this so different from what she'd imagined? She carefully observed Yang Li's expression. He didn't seem to be lying. "Are you marrying her because of her current situation?" Yang Li understood she was referring to Bai Li's pregnancy, and was both exasperated and amused. "Of course not. From the day we made our relationship official, I intended to marry her. Otherwise, why would I waste my time? To play emotional games? I could go out and have fun, couldn't I? Why would I eat the grass by my own nest?" Yun Yan again felt. It seemed everything was different from what she had thought. No, even different from what Bai Li had told her. "Wait, I'm a bit confused." Yun Yan carefully sorted through her thoughts. "Since you two are in a relationship, why do you usually hide it and not dare to make it public?" To her surprise, Yang Li sighed lightly. "It's not that I don't want to make it public. It's Bai Li. The moment she comes to the company, she treats me like a plague, drawing a very clear line between us. She's the one who asked not to make it public, and I can only respect her wishes." Yun Yan's mind was buzzing. After a long moment, she asked again, "Bai Li told you about her situation one day, didn't she? Your expression in the office that day wasn't very good." Yang Li thought back carefully and immediately recalled the day Yun Yan was referring to. He said, "Yes, she did tell me about it that day. I was stunned at the time, but that kind of reaction is normal, isn't it? I hadn't expected it." "What else did you say?" Yun Yan pressed, vaguely sensing there must be a misunderstanding. Yang Li thought for a moment and remembered. "I told her, you can't get married right now either." Yun Yan looked at him in surprise. "What?" Yang Li gestured to his stomach with his hand, lowering his voice. "Her reactions are severe. Wouldn't holding a wedding right now be too much for her? Besides, we both have a lot of work on our hands. With her in this condition, and me unable to spare time, who would prepare the wedding? It's our wedding, and trusting it to others would be inappropriate, wouldn't it? It definitely needs both of us to handle it personally." Yun Yan asked weakly, "Did you tell her the underlying reasons?" Yang Li was puzzled. "Does that even need to be said? It's obvious, isn't it? Obvious." This iron straight man, Yang Li, was truly something else. "Then do you think?" Yun Yan asked a bold question. "Does Bai Li believe you two are in a relationship?" Yang Li paused. "Otherwise, if she didn't consider me her boyfriend, why would she have that kind of relationship with me?" The last part was said a little unnaturally. "All right," Yun Yan understood. She sighed deeply and offered Yang Li a piece of advice. "Deputy Manager Yang, I think you're a shrewd and wise person, whether it's in project management or negotiations, but when it comes to relationships, you're a bit clueless. You really need to be open and honest with Bai Li about everything. Otherwise, she'll misunderstand." These words left Yang Li completely bewildered, and he asked her, "Misunderstand? Misunderstand what?" This time, Yun Yan laid it all out. "Misunderstand that you're just playing around." She moved closer to him, sighed, patted his shoulder, and lowered her voice to a whisper. "So she plans to keep the child and raise it without the father. You'd better handle this yourself." The following afternoon, Yun Yan indirectly heard gossip about herself. Of course, it wasn't the conventional overheard in the restroom type. Rather, Amy from the secretarial office kindly informed her. Just now in the elevator, two colleagues were talking, and they didn't even notice when CEO Jiang entered. Amy whispered to Yun Yan, nodding towards the CEO's office. CEO Jiang's expression was quite grim. I think he definitely misunderstood. Misunderstood what? Yun Yan was startled, watching Amy cautiously. Think about it. He's your direct superior, yet you're getting close to the head of the project team. What would your superior think? He'd definitely believe you're not on his side. So that's it. Yun Yan's anxious heart settled. She had thought Amy knew about her relationship with Jiang Yunyan. You believe me? Yun Yan asked Amy.